Hi guys, it's April and I garden down in southeast Nebraska, zone 5B. I haven't been out in the garden in like 4 days. We are in a major heat wave. Yesterday, I believe my weather station clocked 104, and so I have no idea what state the garden's in. There's probably a few things that aren't too happy right now. And honestly, I haven't looked to harvest anything the whole time because I am not made for the heat. So this is going to be an adventure for both you and me, discovering what is still out here and what's still doing okay. And yeah, I guess let's just check out the garden. I can't guarantee this will be a long one because even though it's pretty early in the morning, it is nearing 80 degrees outside and the humidity is atrocious. So let's do the thing. I don't think I've shown you the corn in a while. So you can see that some of the corn has actually started to die back already. And I've got some ears of popcorn that I can probably pull off on that. And corn isn't looking the greatest, if I'm honest. I think the combination of heat and humidity has just introduced a lot of things that just doesn't make this corn look the greatest. But once it dries out, I don't think you'll notice some of those imperfections. So I still think I can use it for decorations, but they're not looking as happy and lush as they have been, unfortunately. But I'm going to take you to the beds now. As you can see, the zucchini is one of the many tragedies of this heat wave. I need to pull all of those zucchini out. It looks like we've got a couple of zucchinis that I actually need to harvest, which is interesting because I didn't even know those were there. Surprise! So I'll probably harvest those and then just pull this whole plant out, but everything else in this bed is looking pretty okay. I do have a lot of ripe tomatoes that I need to come through and harvest. I just couldn't bring myself to deal with this heat. The sprinklers and the water have gone off this morning. So if you hear the squeaking, it's just my shoes. Just so you know. But I have a ton of peppers that need to get harvested, but this guy has just made his home on these peppers, and I don't know if I want to disturb him. Beans seem to be doing okay, and it looks like we actually have some pods starting to form. And like I said, I have not been harvesting tomatoes at all. And so we have a bit of a mess going on. I don't know if there's going to be a lot still viable in these tomato plants, but I guess we'll find out. It also looks like I need to save some of these pepper plants from that tomato plant that is just leaned its way over into this bed. But I think I saw some ripening peppers in there. You can kind of see those through the leaves. And this pepper plant, the ahi, this really tall one right here, seems to have loved the heat wave. Butternut plant is doing okay. You can see where it's not too thrilled about life. So we've got a couple of vines in there that might die off on me. Looks like the carrots are still okay. Didn't expect anything from them. Tomatoes, once again, become a little bit of a mess. It looks like one of the tomato plants is dying. I'm almost wondering if I should go ahead and pull a lot of my tomato plants early this year because I have gotten so much off of them. It won't be too devastating to do that. Turn around and show you the pond area. Looks like I've got grass that is just taking over. I need to get that pulled and cut down, unfortunately. But it still looks gorgeous. And then we can check out the kiwi, which doesn't look like it was affected. And then we've got the sunflowers, which are super tall, and look at all those blooms. Of course, all of them are clear up there. There's some lower, but I like how this looks right now. Looks like this is the sad part about not being out here because of the heat is probably have a ton of tomatoes that I could have gotten, but here we are. It's okay. There's a lot of new growth on the tomato plants though. At least these ones. Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to handle that. You can see over there, I guess I can walk up now, that a lot of this pumpkin plant, it can't. It decided it can't. We do have the one pumpkin. I think this is the only pumpkin we're going to get this year. And it's starting to turn orange and it's tiny. But half this plant is dying. The other butternut looks somewhat okay. And we have a whole vine of the candy roaster that's dying off, which I think I said last time is fine because I've got that fruit and this second fruit, which is even bigger than the first fruit. Also got these zucchini plants, which, as you can see, has gotten some damage as well. But I'm kind of over zucchinis right now in the season, so that's okay. These tomato plants aren't looking the best, but they haven't been for a while. I did pull one that was back there, and then I gave this one over here a massive haircut. I cut it in half. I was kind of tired of the leaning, and I figured we're far enough in the season it won't become an issue. But as you can see, with the fact that I got rid of the tomato plant back here, the ground cherry has taken over. That is the biggest ground cherry I have ever grown. And to be honest, it's a little bit concerning of how much that is sprawled. But I'm going to take you back to the bed since we were only halfway through that. So this bed is probably the biggest mess of tomato plants. I have contemplated pulling out the plants, at least in this section right here, because they are toppled over so much. We'll see if I can bring myself to do it, but here we are. But as you can see, it's just a forest. There is zero support going on right here. And even into the Romas, it has just gotten a little bit ridiculous. And it looks like we have a lot of sweet peppers that are getting ready to, oh looky, that banana pepper's red. But yeah, oh looky, There are a lot of sweet peppers that I need to get out here and harvest, and I kind of figured there would be. I just couldn't bring myself to be out here, like at all. We've got another butterkin that looks like it's going to be ready to harvest at some point. The chickpeas are doing pretty good. Got a little bumbler. And then the other butterkin. Take you to underneath the deck where it's a mess. So here you can see the tomatoes have taken over. This is the area that probably gets the most shade in the day. In the morning it gets the morning light, and then by, I don't know, 11 it's starting to get shade. So I think these plants are doing the best out of everything. They don't have a lot of that disease and dying back that a lot of the other ones have started to pick up. So I'm getting a lot of cherries, or a lot of cherry tomatoes from these guys. And they are, of course, growing up the deck. But they make this beautiful screen, and then you can harvest from both sides. I did end up harvesting the celery last weekend, and I processed all of that. They weren't the biggest pieces of celery, but they also packed a lot of flavor. And as you can see, some of them are attempting to continue to grow. So maybe I'll get another harvest off of those. But then we just have the lone Brad's Atomic Grape growing, and it looks like it's starting to grow around my wind chimes. After that, we've got this peach tree, which seems like it has grown so much, even just this year. It really likes this spot. And then this eggplant is still doing pretty good. Did do a big harvest off of it the other day, so there should only be some of those smaller eggplants, but it's also gotten hit by the heat, so yeah. This tomato plant, I kept on saying I needed to stake it, and I still haven't staked it. And at this point, here we are. I don't know if it's ever going to get staked. The blueberries seem to be holding on, but the potted tomatoes, which, not surprising, didn't like the heat. It does get hit by the sprinkler system, but when you hit triple digits 4 days in a row, it's just nothing can hold water. And I know this was probably one of the quickest tours I have done to date, but this is the garden. It is still surviving through the heat, which is magic. Before I completely wrap this up, I did want to get a closer look at some of these sunflowers. They're looking rough, but they're so pretty. We got this big guy up here, this big teddy bear. Oh, I love him. I love him so much. So that is the garden as it sits right now. It actually is looking pretty good, if I'm honest. I expected a few more things to be a little bit more dry and crispy, but I do have a watering system in place. So even though I wasn't out here, it was still getting watered, which is nice. I'm still on the fence on whether or not I want to pull a huge chunk of my tomato plants. Like I said, I am overwhelmed with tomatoes and some of them look a little iffy, but there's also a part of me that's like, these plants are still doing okay. So they're still producing, they're still creating food. Do I really want to pull them out yet? So we'll see where all of that goes. Of course, if you want to continue to follow how my garden grows, subscribe down below, hit the bell, do all the things to get all of the notifications, because I do, or at least I try to do, a garden tour every week, just so I can see how this changes and grows and how the season just keeps rolling. And then I like to go back and not necessarily compare each year, but give me benchmarks for what I need to start looking out for. I'm trying to create that backlog of information and references that I can refer to. I also have a Instagram and Threads account if you want to follow me over there as well. I do a lot of photos of what I'm harvesting and what I'm preserving and that kind of stuff. So if you want to check that out, feel free to do that. Otherwise, I hope to see you again in another video, and I heart your beautiful faces.